welcome to a special broadcast of The Vinyl Scratch. We're here at the Canterlot Museum of History because my co-host has been asked to be the speaker at a special event, the unveiling of a once-thought-lost instrument, Zola Viola's last Stradivarius violin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Canterlot Museum's special event. It is with great excitement that we unveil, for the first time since the 813th year of Celestius' reign, the last Stradivarius violin of Zola Viola.
What? The Stradivarius?
It is gone!
Dude, bummer.
The Stradivarius scheme. I had been living with Sherlock Hooves, perhaps the most enigmatic and utterly brilliant stallion I've ever known, for roughly 2 whole months. And by this point, I had believed myself to have grown accustomed to his irregular behavior. He kept odd hours, yes, especially when a case called, and I had become acclimated to a nightly ritual of his violin screeching downstairs, ushering me from my dreams back into the waking world. I was even used to his insatiable cravings for sugary foods, against my dietary advice, mind you. What I was still having trouble with were his experiments.
Sherlock!
A cup of tea. Just a cup of tea was all I wanted. Instead, I opened the door to find a strange insect with enormous eyes staring out at me as the odd bug floated inside a jar.
What?
Why is there an insect in the pantry?
Oh, that's a parasite. I'm dissecting it later to find out how it's able to interfere with magical frequencies and to inspect its near-infinite ability to ingest organic matter.
Dissect... Fine. Just don't keep these things in the pantry. I keep food in there, Sherlock. Things that are edible and that we ingest. Not things that are stuck into jars of formaldehyde. A thought struck me then. Where did he get that thing anyway?
I caught it.
You caught a parasite? How?
Not easily, I assure you. Your tea, as that would be why you were opening the pantry in the first place. And,
No, Sherlock. We talked about this. No cookies or chocolate biscuits this early in the morning. Doctor's orders.
But Trotson, I need the sugar to stimulate my mind.
And keep you up for days. Start your morning with some butter toast and an apple, or cornflakes and milk.
We're out of milk.
Again? That'll be the post.
Mail for Dr. Trotson and Mr. Hooves.
Thank you very much. When I took the post, I could see very plainly that the majority of the letters were, in fact, collection notices. Bills, final notices, fees due. Somehow, even with clients seeking Sherlock with frequency, and my pension, we had found ourselves in a considerable amount of debt. It caused the stone of despair to sink deeply into the pit of my stomach. Sherlock, look at these. I didn't know how to get them all paid in time. Sherlock, of course, was ignoring me. I wondered what that cult did before I moved in. Did paying bills factor in as a priority, or were they things he preferred to treat as unimportant? However, before much more of these thoughts could progress any further, there was another knock at the door. Thinking and dreading that the mail pony had forgotten to give us another bill, I went to answer. Imagine my surprise when I saw not the mail pony, but... You're...
Pardon me, but is Sherlock Hooves in? I do have the right address, don't I?
Octavia, it's been some time, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. We haven't spoken since graduation.
You're Octavia from the Vinyl Scratch!
Oh, you've heard of me. Mr...
Dr. John Trotson. And yes, I have. I'm a big fan. Oh, and please, come in.
Really? Have you seen my concerts and live performances?
Well, no. But I have heard them on the records and the radio. Splendid listening, really.
Oh, I'm flattered, Dr. Trotson. It is a pleasure to know that others enjoy the sonorous sounds of the cello as much as I.
How do you know Sherlock, if I may ask?
We attended Canterlot University together. We were both in the university orchestra, in the string section.
Octavia found my playing to be an annoyance.
Sherlock, that's a bit rude, isn't it?
I didn't find it to be an annoyance, merely...
She always went flat on the cello, and I would point it out to correct her.
I was not flat! I also wasn't thrilled when you kept contradicting the conductor and told him that the compositions were incorrect. What's more, you chose to discard a career in the musical arts to pursue criminal science. A complete waste of talent, if you ask me.
They were incorrect. Completely butchered variants of the original scores, and my choice in career is no concern of yours. But I take it you have not come to visit in the matters of music. You require my services as a detective, I presume.
Well, yes and no. Not that you would care much if I had indeed come just for the sake of music. No, I do need your help with the matter involving an upcoming event at the Canterlot Museum. The Musical Arts Wing is holding an event, and the instrument the event is dedicated to has been stolen. I need your help finding it. The re-unveiling is this evening, so we haven't much time.
Re-unveiling? You mean you had one already?
Yes. Yesterday, we had invited many well-known enthusiasts of the arts, and when the Stradivarius was revealed to be missing, the curator, Noten Flank, had to tell them that there was simply some mistake, and declared that the event would be rescheduled for tonight.
Idiot. What does he hope that I can accomplish in a single day? Though the challenge would be interesting.
Then, you'll help?
Oh no, while the time constraint would make it a bit tempting, I'll agree. It's surely some mistake on Symphony's part. Lost violin or something. Good day, Octavia.
But the museum needs your help! They're even prepared to pay an advance of 200 bits, and an extra 600 once you've solved the crime!
2? And then 6? That's 800 bits!
Again, tempting, but
He'll be happy to take the case. After all, he can't say no to an old classmate, especially some pony as lovely as you, Miss Octavia.
Yes. Well, thank you.
We'll be at the museum post-haste, Miss Octavia.
I don't want to do this case, John. It's boring.
Even if it is, we need the bits. We have bills to pay, Sherlock. And she's Octavia. You can't turn this down. Please?
Fine. We'll look into it for the bills. But I want nothing to do with your fruitless and foolish crush.
What? I don't have a crush.
Trotson. Remember who you're talking to. Now, come along. We have work to do.
I can't thank you both enough for coming.
Again, it's our pleasure.
Where did the crime take place?
Just down here. There's the curator now, with the guard.
Ah, Lestrade. If I had known you'd been called here already.
Actually, Sherlock, I'm just leaving.
Leaving? Why? Aren't you in charge?
No, I am. Name's Demule, and this is my crime scene and my case.
You must be joking. I only work with Lestrade. I can't be seen alongside a hideous, stubborn ass.
Sherlock!
Didn't know you cared, Sherlock. But sorry, this time it's not my case. I only came along to warn Demule about your methods.
Why should he need warning?
Him, Zendelholt. While I'm certain that this conversation is stimulating to you, we are wasting time. We have a tight schedule and we must find Zolviola Stradivarius before tonight's unveiling.
Right, that's my cue. Please behave yourself, Sherlock.
Hey, Octi, anything happening yet?
Not just yet, Vinyl. But we might be about to get to the bottom of this. Herr Nottenflank, meet Sherlock Hooves and his assistant, Dr. Trotson.
Sup?
Oh, very nice to meet you, Miss Scratch.
Call me Vinyl or DJ Pony. I don't do the miss stuff.
Can we please get on with this?
Yeah, let's see what you've got to say, Hooves.
I actually agree. Let's begin. I can immediately tell you that this was done by some pony with a very astute knowledge of the museum and the displays. They would have needed to see how the case was removed, know how to avoid tripping the alarm spells, and how to move about without being suspect. Only some pony with existing clearance to the exhibit would have been able to come even a fraction close, given the enchantments that surround the displays, and, by proxy, the Stradivarius itself.
How do you know it was enchanted?
There are minute hums of magical energy around every statue, painting, and glass-enclosed case, caused by the enchantments that keep the exhibit piece suspended in a place and to alert security that it has been tampered with. This one would have been no different, except now there's no hum, and if some pony without magic, or who was not made an exception to the enchantment, came up to the case, the alarm would have sounded immediately.
Wow, you could tell that by a hum? Whoa, I totally hear it now. Nice beats. How come no one noticed this one wasn't humming?
Because, Vinyl Scratch, few ponies would register that it was missing. Most don't notice the sound at all until they're made aware of it, as you demonstrated just now.
What does this have to do with this Stradivarius?
I hate repeating myself, but as you seem too slow to keep up, Half-Lunk, it's simple. Some pony working here wanted it. Who else had access to this display?
Myself, the security guards, Fräulein Octavia and Fräulein Scratch.
Why did they need access?
It had been requested that I, being accomplished in the strings, give a demonstration of the instrument's signature sound during the unveiling. While the cello is my muse, I can still play a violin with efficiency.
I just didn't want to bump it and set it off by accident.
Reasonable. And as I can see by the recording equipment over in the left hoof corner, you must have been preparing for your broadcast.
Yep, gotta make sure everything's hooked up right or else we can't have a show.
And were you with her when she was setting up, Miss Octavia?
Of course. Until just before the unveiling, I had to assist Herr Flank with a few last-minute preparations.
And the guards would have been standing at attention the entire time without leaving their posts due to this instance of loyalty. This could... Oh, hello?
What's that? By Celestia! That's...
A hair?
Yes, a single blue hair, obviously from the mane of a pony.
So the culprit left a clue after all.
While it's a start, I don't see how that can be exceptionally helpful. I'll bet there are quite a few ponies at the unveiling last night who could have left it.
Quiet. And Trotson, that observation is quite untrue. Every shade of blue has distinctions, from indigo to teal, and every shade in between. This particular one, given the ponies in attendance of the event, and with access to the Stradivarius, the possibility is... You know what? Forget it. No, forget all of that.
No, what? Who was it?
What are you hiding?
The answer is impossible.
Sherlock, if you know...
This hair could only be matched to one attendee, and I know for a fact she did not commit the crime.
How do you know?
We just asked her, and she has an alibi, and the only window of opportunity she could have had was too brief for her to leave her complex task to steal the Stradivarius.
You don't mean...
Vinyl Scratch.
What?
What? Me? But I didn't do it.
She's innocent! Sherlock, we just told you what we were doing together before the unveiling and the live show!
Precisely why it's impossible.
So, let me get this straight. You say that only some pony with magic, or with clearance, which she's got both, could have done this. Then, you say that she's the only one with a mane that color who was at this event. And now you're saying that she's innocent of it? I don't know what Lestrade sees in you, but you're a lousy detective if you're contradicting your own deductions. I'm taking her in for questioning.
Whoa, wait a minute, you can't do this.
Course I can. There's more than enough evidence to make you a suspect.
Oh, I shouldn't have allowed such a Philistine to attend. Oh.
Sherlock, what have you done? I asked you to help, not make things worse.
Demule, it is one of my philosophies that whenever you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must therefore be the truth. It is impossible for Vinyl Scratch to have had the time to disable the security enchantments, abscond with the Stradivarius, and return to her task without Octavia or her flank knowing about it. The hair's existence is possible due to only one explanation.
Really? And what's that, then?
That it was planted, to frame Vinyl Scratch and throw off suspicion, as well as cause delay in the investigation.
The only one causing a delay is you, Hooves. We've got a suspect, and I'm taking her in. Let's get going.
Dude, seriously, can't I have any say in this?
Say whatever you like. Anything you say will be held against you anyway.
This was most certainly a conundrum. The only likely suspect was possibly being framed, but with no further proof as to her innocence but her word, that left precious little for us to do. And what was more, we still had the ever-looming time limit on our heads. I wondered how my friend could possibly prove Vinyl Scratch's innocence, find the real thief, and, on top of everything, retrieve the Stradivarius.
Trotson, come on. The game is a hoof.
Right behind you.
Wait! You two are not leaving me behind in this mess!
Miss Octavia, before we get too far along, I have to ask, why is this violin so important anyway? I am a music lover, don't misunderstand, but was this Zola Viola Symphony famous?
Only one of the best composers in Equestria. Her music is one of a kind. She drew inspiration from the landscapes and countries of the world. Then she wrote her music to invoke their essence. Butterfly Fields in Spring, the Saddle Arabian Overture. She traveled the globe in search of new and unique places to capture with music.
Sounds amazing, but what has it got to do with that violin?
It isn't simply a violin. Like any machine, toy, brand of cookie, or even fashion piece, Trotson, musical instruments are known by their makers. Violin makers are called luthiers, and Stradivarius violins are a unique type of violin constructed only by the luthier Stradivarius and a very select few of his descendants and apprentices. The style, quality, and make of a Stradivarius violin is second to none.
Okay. So, Zola Viola owned one of these then?
She owned 3, all of them hoof-made by Stradivarius himself.
What was more, Zola Viola was the first zebra in Equestria to own so many of one luthier's specific type of violin.
Wait, she was a zebra? And she owned 3 of them? What in Equestria for?
Because in 708, Zola Viola came to our country in her quest to find new lands to serve as her musical muse. When she arrived, she went through the area known as the Everfree Forest. That wood, wild, untamed, and uncontrolled by the princess or any other magical element save its own, made her compose one of the most hauntingly beautiful and utterly chilling pieces of music ever known. While in that forest, she also came upon a specific tree that seemed to make the natural sounds of the forest resonate more than any other type of wood. The Timberwolf's Bane Tree.
The resonance within the tree's bark causes sounds within the forest to echo very loudly, causing an auditory hallucination that makes the forest seem larger. This resonance causes confusion in timberwolves, and thus it helps to keep them within the confines of the forest and away from the more docile lands surrounding it. In the year 810, Princess Celestia outlawed the cutting of these trees. However, 100 years prior, it was perfectly legal to cut them and harvest their wood for making of furniture, buildings, and of course musical instruments.
No other instrument can replicate the sound that a Timberwolf's Bane instrument makes. And because she saw the value in that, Zola Viola commissioned Stradivarius to make 3 violins from the trees to include as the focal point of the composition inspired by the forest. Moonlight in Everfree.
I hate to admit this, but I've never heard of that.
Few ponies have. It's a difficult piece to play, not only for the fact that its beginning is rather foreboding and creepy, to use the vernacular, but it's because the integral instrument, the Timberwolf's Bane violin, is nearly non-existent now, and ordinary violins fail to capture the sound intended by the composer.
Zola Viola's violins were the last intact Timberwolf's Bane violins. But in 813, a group of Pegasi lost control of a thunderstorm, and lightning struck Zola's home. Her grandchildren lived there at the time, and while they made it out safely, it was believed that her violins were lost. Until last month, when one of her descendants was returning to his ancestral homeland, he discovered an old trunk. In the trunk, among various old pieces of music and other flotsam, he found a violin case. The case itself was charred, but the violin inside, it was in perfect condition. A Timberwolf's Bane Stradivarius, untouched. He donated it to the museum, asking only that they treat the instrument with great care.
And now it's been stolen. That's utterly tragic. Oof! I was so engrossed in Miss Octavia's explanation that I hadn't noticed the janitor. Our collision had caused her to drop her broom and her hat to fall from her head. Oh, I'm so terribly sorry, miss. Here, I believe this is yours.
No, not to worry, sir. It was my fault.
As the mayor turned to leave, I could have sworn I saw Sherlock looking at her as well. but he turned away and kept moving forward.
Very interesting.
What is it?
Nothing.
When Sherlock Hooves says nothing, it almost always means something. But before I can inquire further, Sherlock urged us along.
I believe we've a few more ponies to talk to. If we were to prove Vinyl Scratch's innocence to the mule, we'll have to find out where every pony was.
But you know already.
I prefer to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. We'll start with the head of museum security.
Oh, I know that piece.
He seems to really like it, since he's playing it that loud.
Yes, but terribly inconvenient. Hello? Guard! Open this door!
What in the names of the Royal Sisters is it?
The stallion who opened the door wore the standard black security hat along with the vest.
Sorry to interrupt, but we've come to ask a few questions about the last night's incident. My name is Sherlock Hooves, and this is my assistant...
Friend?
Dr. Trotson.
Ahem.
Oh, yes, and...
Octavia. I know you, miss. Come in. I don't mind if it's helping with the investigation. You two know the police?
We're, following up for them.
Right. Well, don't know how I can help you much. I was doing my job, as always, standing at the doors to make sure no pony uninvited got inside when it happened. Real shame, too.
I heard Octavia was going to play. I'm a real fan of hers.
Yes, apparently quite a few ponies enjoy her flat notes.
My notes are not.
So, you didn't see anything? No one acting suspicious? No one sniffing around the display?
No, sir. Sorry. Wish I could give you more.
You say you're a fan of Octavia, Officer... Duty?
Yes, sir. Stalwart duty. At your service, sir.
Yes, well, you say you're her fan, but these records here are none in which Octavia was a part of the orchestra, and none feature her as a soloist. In fact, the top 3 specifically feature violinists.
All the hype about the Stradivarius got me in the mood to listen to violins. Something wrong with that?
Not at all. Thank you for your time. Trotson, Octavia, we're done here.
Well, that was a wasted trip.
Oh, on the contrary, John, I believe we have a lead.
A lead? How? When?
Officer Duty, his music collection and his defensiveness over listening to them. The best way to cover up a lie is to mingle it with the truth. He is a music fan, but sorry, Octavia, he isn't a fan of the cello. He's a fan of the violin. His tidy office and the displays of the records next to his record player all indicate that he has the usual tendencies of a guard in security. However, his loyalty isn't to the museum or its exhibits.
So you think he's the one who did it?
Never formulate a theory, Trotson, until you have all the data. Come along, one last stop. We need to talk to Herr Flank. If we are to find the Stradivarius in time, we'll need his full cooperation as well as his word to have Vinyl Scratch released.
For her sake, you'd better be onto something, Sherlock. Something that can help. Poor Vinyl. I hope she's all right.
I'm sure your best friend's doing well, Miss Octavia. Just trust in Sherlock and me. We'll get Vinyl out.
Ugh.
You both had better.
Trotson!
What?
I know that your skills at deduction are not on par with my own, but don't you think you should be taking a hint?
What, that Octavia's worried about her best friend and she wants to help her and make sure that this crime's solved? That's all obvious. She's such a sweet mare. I was worried she might be a bit standoffish, but she's been just a delight so far.
Oh, just never mind. Hurry, we still have far too much to do and far too little time to do it in.
We hurried to the original scene of the crime, first to see if Mr. Flank was still in the vicinity. It turned out he was, but...
Make sure that the room is clean and pristine, Fräulein. If we get the Stradivarius back tonight, everything must be perfect. Top to bottom.
Whatever you say, Mr. Flank.
Herr Flank, we need to discuss... What are you doing?
Cleaning the display. We must make sure that this is pristine for tonight's re-unveiling. Once that uncouth unicorn confesses where she hid Stradivarius.
Fool! You're destroying the integrity of the crime scene!
It's fine, Sherlock. Mr. Flunk, we need to ask you. Please, come with us to the guard and talk to Demule. Tell him to release Vinyl Scratch.
What? Why? She is guilty. You've said so yourself.
I said it was her hair, but it was planted. Sempony put it there to frame her. I'm getting closer to discovering who, but I need more time. Talk with Demule and convince him to set her free.
Not a chance. She is the culprit. I can tell.
Even important ponies can be rotten sometimes.
No, Tim. You and I have been associates for a long time. But Vinyl is much, much more to me. I know her better than any pony else. She would never take the Stradivarius. She's not even a classical music enthusiast. Believe me, I've tried to make her one. And she would never take something that wasn't hers without permission. I'm begging you, Noten, please. Come with us to the station and help us get her out.
I don't know. I just wanted this dedication to go well.
And I'm sure it will. But do you know that it isn't right for a pony to be locked away for something that they haven't done? We can't jump to conclusions just to have an answer.
Well, I suppose.
Mr. Flank, do you want me to stop cleaning?
Miss, I think he's a bit busy at the moment.
But I've almost got it done.
What? Oh, yeah, Fräulein Clough.
Thanks, Mr. Flank. Let me go polish the D Solo's lower bout and the tailpiece, and I'll...
Yeah, whatever. Hooves, I'll come with you. We'll see if Fräulein Scratch is indeed innocent then. We have so little time.
Splendid!
Sure thing, sir. Good luck on finding the Stradivarius.
Finally! Hurry, to the Royal Guard.
But I told you to listen to everything. Why didn't you wait?
Because I know she's guilty, and I did listen. Your pet consultant gave me a clue, and I followed it. She's a rotten little thief.
Dude, I'm sitting right here. Aren't I supposed to be able to get, like, a lawyer or something? I'm totally innocent.
Tell it to the judge tomorrow, after you tell me where the violin is.
I doubt she'll be able to tell you the whereabouts of something she never stole, Demule.
Sherlock!
Vinyl! Oh, thank Luna! How are you? Are you alright? I hope they've not been ghastly.
Just Dimmy over there. Everybody else has been pretty cool. How's the investigation going?
I'm not sure what he's got up his fetlocks, Vinyl, but I'm sure Sherlock's almost got it all figured out. I hope.
What in Celestia's name did you do to get Vinyl Scratch locked up here? Half the precinct is scandalized, and the other half's begging for an autograph.
Terribly sorry, Lestrade, for the inconvenience, but if Demule had taken my whole word as gospel, this mix-up wouldn't have happened.
I did take your word. You found her hair, she had access, guilty.
I also said that the hair was likely planted by the real thief in order to create confusion and throw us off their trail. You jumped to a conclusion without waiting for me to find all the facts.
Pah. Mr. Noten agrees with me.
Actually, I admit I am not so sure.
What?
I wanted an answer and somebody to blame. I wasn't willing to hear the whole story. Or wait for a resolution. Fräulein Scratch, I am sorry.
It's cool, but can you guys let me out now?
No!
Sorry, Dims, but if there's no more evidence and the only piece is discounted, we've got to let it out. Especially if Mr. Flonk's not pressing charges anymore. You're free to go, Miss Scratch.
Alright, knew you were a pretty cool dude. Tell that Bunsen fella I'll have his autograph for him tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, this is wonderful!
Not entirely. We still haven't found the violin. And the time limit will be done in less than 2 hours. We're not going to find it in time. We're both very sorry, Mr. Flonk.
Nein. It was my fault. I should have known that it would take longer. And by now, the thief must have it miles away. Oh.
Real shame that it was all over a violin.
Not just any violin. It was Zola Viola's last Stradivarius. Vanished or taken or never seen again.
Wait. Oh! Oh!
Violin.
Violin, Stradivarius.
Stradivarius.
I know who took it. I know who took it!
What?
I know who took the Stradivarius. Lestrade, Demule, make yourselves useful for once and gather a team to surround the museum. John, Octavia, Vinyl, you three with me. We have to be quick before the thief leaves.
You see? I told you we could solve it.
What about me?
Stay with Lestrade. Come on! The clock's already ticking now!
Well, you heard him. Come on, let's go on with this.
But he just...
I know, but we've got our lead. Let's get our backup teams going.
I don't like him.
You and 3/4 of the guard.
Sherlock, where are we going?
Museum storage room. Paintings, statues, and other exhibit pieces to be added or replaced for a time during restoration, as well as surplus stands, cases, and other items are placed in here.
And my beats! Guess they just stuck my turntable and broadcast stuff over there. Hope they didn't break anything.
And how did you get the key for the door?
Lifted it from Half-Flank's pocket. Far too easy to do, really. A simple sleight of hoof trick.
Can you teach me that trick?
Vinyl!
For parties, Octi. You know I think magic tricks are boss.
But why are we here?
Keep your voices down. Our thief is likely already about to make their escape with Stradivarius.
You haven't even told us who the thief is, Sherlock.
Is it nice for you all, not being me? How quiet your minds must be. Very well. I'll explain, since none of you have deduced it yet. From the beginning, it was obvious that this theft was an inside job, done by some pony with full knowledge of the museum, its security measures, and whom would be in attendance to Stradivarius's unveiling and dedication. This pony was also clever enough to use the confusion of the preparations to cover up any of their actions, and would have a way into the exhibit room.
Right. So who was it?
Patience, John, all in good time. You see, the culprit would have needed a way to take one of Vinyl's hairs and plant it as false evidence, but also have a means in and out of the room. However, it would have been impossible for the thief to take the Stradivarius from the exhibit when the guests and the curator were all in the room, who has access when no one else does to any room in the museum.
The guards? So it was stalwart duty!
Half right, Dr. Trotson.
Half? But... Sherlock! Look out!
Those vases are from the early Guaxia dynasty. Show a little respect.
Sorry, but I'm not going to let you stop her. Go on, Treb. Get out.
That was the janitor!
Quickly, behind the sarcophagi.
Right. Explain. Why the janitor got the violin?
No time now. She's getting away.
Right. Nothing for it. Tally-ho!
So good to have a companion with extra muscle. Come along, ladies. We need to catch her.
Wait a sec. I got an idea.
Vinyl!
No time. Octavia, we have to go.
You! Stop!
We won't let you get far, Treble Clef.
How did you know my name?
Stalwart Duty calls you Treb, and your cutie mark tells of your musical background. It isn't hard to deduce that your name would be Treble Clef or something close. Now give us back the Stradivarius.
Never! I'd sooner die than let any of you have it.
Sherlock!
Run! Octavia?
I'm fine, don't worry.
Miss Clef, you'll be the one dying if you keep this up.
I said leave me alone. I won't give it back. It's mine anyway. It should have been given to me last month.
You're a janitor. Why would it be yours?
Don't be foolish, Octavia. Didn't you hear? Her cutie mark and this theft are clear now. Miss Cleft, you're no janitor, are you? And certainly not a mere violinist either. You come from a family with ties to music as well. You say the Stradivarius should have been yours since its recovery, and you're no zebra. Therefore, you must be a descendant of Stradivarius himself.
I am lousy at making violins, unlike my cousins and my brothers. But I am still a part of the Various family. I can play anything that my family creates, so I won't let my ancestors' legacy be stolen by some zebra. It isn't fair. No one remembers the ones who make these instruments. They only remember the ponies who played them or wrote music for them.
What are you saying? That isn't true, Miss Clef. We remember Zola Viola for her music, yes, but without your ancestors' skillful craftsmanship, no one would have been able to play her music.
And without musicians like Octavia and myself, no one would be able to hear them.
Their gifts together, hers of composition and his for carving and creating beautiful instruments, were able to make the most memorable pieces of music in history. That's the truth of all composers, luthiers, and musicians. Please, Miss Clef, why else would he call it by his name?
Very kind words, Octavia. Especially since every pony's going to remember you more than the poor pony who made your cello. Musicians and composers, they get all the glory. I'm taking my family's pride from here to place it where it'll be properly appreciated.
Go out there and you'll be surrounded by the Royal Guard, ready to lock you away, Miss Clef. If you stop now and give us Stradivarius, I may be able to talk them into giving you a lesser charge due to your family's connection with the instrument.
You're lying.
I'm not. It's terribly ironic that you used your position as a janitor, one of the most overlooked members of any staff, to steal the Stradivarius, yet you hate being ignored. I'll offer once more, return the violin, and I assure you, neither your family or you will be forgotten.
If I steal it, I'll be remembered anyway. So why should I take your offer? Stars, where are you?
He's right here. Your court friend's a good fighter, but I've been in the Royal Army.
Stars!
Fillies and gentle colts, here come the wubs.
What is this? What's happening?
What was that?
She's been frozen!
Nope, she's under security. Did you like my wubs cannon, Shirls?
My name is Sherlock. Fascinating. You've used your turntable speakers, the signal enhancers from your broadcasting equipment, and your magic to amplify the security spells used for the display cases and exhibit pieces to freeze Treble Cleft in place. I'll hold on to this, Miss Cleft. How kind of you. Vinyl Scratch, you are surprisingly a very clever pony.
Thanks. I think.
Well, we made it in time. The violin's back in place, and Miss Treble Clef's with Lestrade now.
Thank you for stating the obvious, Trotson.
I'm glad that the case is solved. It was a real challenge, that deadline of trying to find the culprit. And, actually, I'm proud of you, Sherlock. You chose to get Vinyl out first before you went after Miss Clef.
Don't confuse my choice for kindness or altruism, John. If I hadn't seen to her release first, Octavia would have hounded me the entire time and nothing would have been accomplished. Also, her wubs cannon was very practical.
Whatever you say. If only the price of the broken vases and other inventory pieces weren't taken from our fee for the case.
The bills will get paid in one way or another, Trotson. Don't fret.
Easy for you to say. You're not the one who usually has to talk to the collectors.
Herr Hooves, I want to thank you for all of your help. Without you, this would have been a disaster.
I did it for the puzzle and the challenge, Half-Long. And for the good of the arts, of course.
But Herr Hooves, you must tell me how you uncovered that Fräulein Clef was the thief.
I'm curious about that as well. How did you know?
You have to tell us at some point, Sherlock.
Very well, I'll explain, since not every pony is apparently able to make such simple deductions. I suspected from the moment that Treble Cleft bumped into Dr. Trotson that she was not merely a simple janitor. Her cutie mark was that of a violin crossed with its bow. Were her primary talent cleaning, it might have been a broom or a mop. Given the cutie mark's discrepancy, it was only natural to assume that she was either a violinist or part of a luthier family. What solidified her connection was that she called the instrument a Stradivarius, and not a violin, just as Octavia, Half-Long, and I did. A simple uncultured pony without a musical background would have only occulted a violin, just as Trotson, Lestrade, and the old mule did.
Hey, I'm cultured. You know I love music and paintings.
But you are more appreciative of the visual arts than the musical, Trotson. My point stands. Anyway, Miss Clef confirmed all of these facts by naming the parts of the solo violin she intended to clean, and again when she admitted her family's connection in the storage room. However, her disdain for being ignored must have been negated by her need for employment, as she seemed to know the museum exceptionally well and did a very thorough job cleaning each room. Because of her position, one that is naturally forgotten or ignored by patrons and staff unless necessary, she had ample opportunity to slip into the exhibit under pretense of tidying up in order to take the Stradivarius. Her job also gave her the ideal place to hide it until she could make her escape, her cleaning cart in the storage room.
That's amazing!
You realize you say that out loud, don't you?
But what about the hair? And why was Duty helping her?
Ponies lose their mane and tail hairs all the time through brushing, washing, and daily activities. It would have been simple for Treble Clef to sweep one up and place it in the display area to be found. With the investigation and the blame centered on Vinyl Scratch, no pony would have been looking at Miss Cleft while she made away with Stradivarius. As for Duty's involvement, Octavia, you should have pieced that together from his obsessive love of music, the particular focus on the violin, his use for a pet name for Treble Clef, and the fact that he, too, called the instrument a Stradivarius. Even Trotson can deduce that.
They were a couple.
Precisely. And who better to be both an accomplice, lookout, and convenient muscle than one's own cult friend?
But they didn't count on a retired army captain to be there to take him on.
On that note, I want to thank you as well, Sherlock. Without you, Vinyl would be behind bars, and, well, you know how important she is to me.
Of course.
Anything for you, Miss Octavia. You and your friend can continue to host your wonderful show.
And of course, I can't forget your bravery, Dr. Trotson. Thank you for your courage against Officer Duty.
I cannot stress how happy, at the time, I was to receive a hug from Octavia herself. It was better than any accolade had been given for my service among the Princess's army. I was full of jubilation. Aye. You're welcome, Miss Octavia.
Oh, sisters help me.
Oh, and Sherlock, I talked to Herr Flanck and the rest of the night's orchestra. Would you give us the honor of hearing you play tonight?
What?
To thank you for your hard work and dedication, we want you to play the solo on the Stradivarius for Moonlight in Everfree.
The piece that the Stradivarius was made for? That's fantastic!
But I haven't played for a full audience in years.
I'm sure that after catching a thief in a thrilling chase, playing a world-famous instrument would be nothing for some pony like you. We're tuning up, Sherlock. Let's go join the orchestra.
No, wait. Stop. Look, stop pushing!
I can't believe it. I hope that his performance will be better than the 3 a.m. sonatas I get.
I most wholeheartedly agree.
Oh, sorry, madam. Didn't see you there. Do you know Sherlock, then? He doesn't mention his acquaintances often, if at all.
You could say that. He's actually quite the accomplished violinist. Oh, and don't worry about your debts, Dr. Trotson. Those will be more than taken care of.
What? Who are you? How's mine and my friend's financial affairs any of your business?
Shush. It's beginning.
But shh. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to unveil, again, the last Timberwolfsbane Stradivarius of Zola Viola. And to play homage to her on Stradivarius works, we shall play Zola Viola's famous piece, Moonlight in Everfree, featuring Octavia on the cello and Sherlock Hooves as our soloist.
That was... I had no idea he could play like that.
He is full of surprises, isn't he, Doctor?
And that's our broadcast tonight, every pony. Tune in tomorrow when I talk about my day in the Slammer, my new patented Wubbs cannon, and we try to bug a few of Her Majesty's finest about their favorite mixes. See you next time.
Thanks, Celestia, that's over. Let's go, Trotson.
Oh, of course, Sherlock. But first, who is... Wait, she's gone. Where'd she go?
What are you talking about? Already on to the next mare, John?
What? No! There was... And she... Never mind. Let's just go home.
Ah, before I forget, these are a gift from Octavia and Vinyl. As further gratitude for our services, they've invited us to attend one of Octavia's concerts. I've had enough of her flat notes for a lifetime. You can have both, and enjoy the dinner afterwards.
You mean... I'm going to see one of Octavia's concerts? For free? And then go on a dinner date? This is the best day of my life!
Whatever you wish to think it is, Trotson.
Well, that was certainly a notable adventure, wasn't it?
It had a harmony of its own, I suppose. Before we go too far with these musical puns, Trotson, let's get on with these end credits.
Right, you've been listening to The Adventures of Sherlock Hooves, the Stradivarius Scheme, with Shirley as the voice of Sherlock Hooves.
The episode also featured Jester Dirama as Dr. John Trotson, City Mike as Inspector Lestrade,
with Hrothgar's Not and Flonk, Sweedley as Stalwart Duty,
Metal Panda as Treble Cleft, Sonic Curring 123 Dubs as Demule, and the Fangirl as the Strange Pony. Trotson, who is...
introducing the Living Couch, and guest starring Hannah Kay as Vinyl Scratch, and Princess Rill as Octavia. Let's see how you like being interrupted.
The Stradivarius Scheme was written by the Fangirl and Codemaster C.
Moonlight Never Free was composed and made by Ordon Rift.
With sound editing by Jinga, Trademark, Lightning Blast, and Sonic Curring 123 Dubs, original artwork by Quarter Awesome and Puppy Doctor.
This has been a Not My Division production in collaboration with Pony in a Box Productions and the Midnight Magic Pro of the Vinyl Scratch tapes. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is copyright of Hasbro, and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes credited to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and the Doyle Foundation. Thank you for joining us in this special crossing. See you next episode.